Okay. Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Aini Sofia. Tonight we are having a meeting to discuss about our internship program. As I was informed earlier, a private school has given us an opportunity to choose any branch for us to do our internship. So we have few options of city that we can choose, which includes Johor Bahru, Kuala Lumpur, Kota Baru, Kelantan, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Penang, and Langkawi, Kedah. I believe all of the cities I mentioned previously are familiar to us, right? So our goal for this discussion is to come up with ranking for all the cities. But we have to rank the cities from the most preferred to the least preferred. So in order to do that, I suggest we discuss the few factors that have to be considered before we decide on the ranking in order to be fair and to prevent from any unwanted issue later on. So do you all agree with that? If yes, we can proceed with our...
Yes.
To start our discussion, I would like to share my most preferred city, which is Kuala Lumpur. This decision has been done after I consider some of the factors, which include the cost of living, the transportation, the safety that is available in Kuala Lumpur. So now I would like to hear from any of you that would like to share if you agree or you disagree with my opinion.
Okay, my name is Hanis Najiha. I do agree with your opinion on Kuala Lumpur, but I personally put Kuala Lumpur as my third choice for internship because even though I do aware of its busy environment with heavy traffic congestion and it is also crowded being one of the highest populated city in Malaysia,
Yeah.
I just think that maybe I just prefer to live in a city-like place. And for me, I believe each and every one of us came from different region and or states in Malaysia, and looking at the list of places for our internship, I would definitely be biased towards my hometown, which is Kota Kinabalu. And the reason why I chose Kota Kinabalu as my most preferred place for internship is because I personally think that I would spend the least money throughout my internship in Kota Kinabalu, considering that I can stay at my parents' house instead of renting a house or a room. So that would be my personal opinion on my most preferred place.
Well, that's a good point from you. What about others?
Hi, I am Islin Shakira, and I actually am the same page as Aini Sofia. You said earlier your most preferred city to do your internship is Kuala Lumpur, and I agree on the points that Hanis Najihah has given earlier. You cannot resist being biased to pick the city that is near to your hometown. But then I picked Kota Kinabalu as the least preferred city that I would do my internship. So let me elaborate on the points on why I chose Kuala Lumpur as my most preferred city to do my internship, because as all of you know, Kuala Lumpur is actually the capital city of Malaysia, right? So, and it actually, in my opinion, KL, Kuala Lumpur and Johor Bahru doesn't have any differences. But then I chose Kuala Lumpur as my most preferred city to do my internship because first and foremost, it is the capital city of Malaysia. And then I believe if I were to do my internship in Kuala Lumpur, I would have no worries on transportation, on language barrier, on foods, on facilities, because all of them are there. And the technologies in Kuala Lumpur is the most updated, right? Because it's a capital city of Malaysia. And then I disagree on with Hanis Najihah with choosing Kota Kinabalu as most preferred city to do our internship, because as I am in Semenanjung, I am from Johor. So Kota Kinabalu is the furthest city that was given to us. So the first thing that I thought of when I saw Kota Kinabalu is the price, the ticket flight price. So that is the first reason why I chose Kota Kinabalu as my least preferred city to do my internship. But I would really like, but I would also wanted to know how the other of you think about my idea.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
Okay, I agree with Islin when you say that KL has the best public transportation system, because there we have MRT, LRT, bus, Rapid KL, which is beneficial for us to do our internship. If we choose other cities like Kota Kinabalu, like Hanis preferred before, it would cause hassle for me, because I live in Perlis, and imagine having to bring my own transportation. That would be impossible. And I prefer KL because it has a good transportation there. And about the Kota Kinabalu, I also agree with Islin because of the expensive ticket flights that I have to consider. So I would disagree with Hanis Najiha. And what about others? Aisyah orIl?
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. I am Akadania bin Muhammad Rusli. I agree with all opinion that you guys said, but I also have my own opinion. And from the rank most to least, top rank is I choose Kota Baru, Kelantan. I have my own reason why I choose that state. My first reason is living cost at Kota Baru, Kelantan is not expensive. You can meet or find many owner of the rental house who put low price for rent. For example, if you want to, the price for the rent price for a house with single or double room is around 600 to 800 only. And if you pick single room, you only need to pay for below than 300 ringgit Malaysia. And my second reason is why I choose Kota Baru, Kelantan for my internship is because about food. At Kota Baru, Kelantan, you can find various of food. You can try Western food, Chinese food, Thailand food, or Kelantan's traditional food such as nasi kerabu, nasi kau, and others. And of course, the price is also cheap. As example, if you want to buy or have a breakfast, you can find there are many restaurants or food stalls that sell nasi berlauk, chicken or meat at 3 ringgit Malaysia per person. And you only need to spend under 10 ringgit Malaysia only for breakfast, include for drink. And my third reason is why I choose Kota Baru, Kelantan, because about how religious it is. Based on my research, Kelantan is one of the least multicultural parts of the country. About 95% of the population are from ethnic of Malays, and most of them are practicing Muslims. For your information, Kelantan has consistently taken a hard line of view on Islamic law, which is cinema was banned and caning as punishment for branch of Sharia law. I think if we stay in Kota Baru, Kelantan for a period of time, we can increase our discipline and morality. And my list chose for my internship is Kota Kinabalu, and my reason is cost for transportation from Semenanjung to Sabah and Sarawak are expensive. We need to buy a ticket flight to travel to Sabah and Sarawak. And if we stay stay at Sabah, if any emergency happen at our family at Semenanjung, we need to buy an urgent ticket, which is, I think the ticket must not cheap and it must be expensive if we buy it urgently. I think just that for my opinion. Thank you.
Akil, I really like I really like your reasons on choosing Kota Baru as your most preferred place for internship, especially on the part where we can increase or shape our discipline and morality by living in Kota Baru. So I think that is a good point. What about Aisha?
I most agree about Akil Daniel because in the Kota Kinabalu, the price not expensive and low price for rented house living at Kota Kinabalu. And Kota Kinabalu have many essay to get different type of food. But I agree, Hanis Najiha, for the city of Kota Kinabalu. Although flight is expensive, but the place in the Kota Kinabalu is very interesting because with the place, for example, Gunung Kinabalu, and I can learn of the culture in the city. But I have also my opinion. My top rank is Johor Bahru because it's my hometown, and in Johor Bahru have many public transportation. For example, Grab, bus, and I can bring my own motorcycle to for my internship. You can you all agree my opinion or not?
I agree, Aisha. And for the record, I do agree with all of your opinion on Kota Kinabalu, and it is really expensive for me too. And in my opinion, it is really expensive for um you all, if you want to go to Kota Kinabalu, the cost of transportation for aeroplanes is very high. And here in Kota Kinabalu, we do have nice places to visit, but considering that we are choosing it for internship, I do not think that it would be a top priority in this matter. And yeah, I mean, do you have anything to add?
I would like um, to add something about my least preferred actually, because I heard that Akil chose Kota Baru as his most preferred city to do our internship, but I have to disagree with him because my main concern here is the water there. So if Akil can explain a little bit more about this issue, maybe I can consider choosing Kota Baru as a place to do our internship. What do you think, Akil?
I think I am a flexible person, so I don't really mind if I was chosen to do any internship to any city or any city around Malaysia. And for Kota Baru, the only thing that comes to my mind is cheap. Whenever you go to many place or many shop, you can buy something with low price. For example, from what I mentioned earlier, food and the rent house, food and the rent house were the price for food and the rent house was low, and it did not burden us as a student to keep survive at Kota Baru, Kelantan. But I think it's okay for me if Kota Baru, Kelantan was put at least rank, because when we do our internship, we also need to make our need to interest ourselves with any interesting place or interesting activity. At Kota Baru, Kelantan, there was no many things that you can do to interest yourself. I think I will agree with you guys who put Kota Baru, Kelantan at least rank.
Okay, so
it's okay.
can I talk? Okay.
Yes.
So I actually put Kota Baru as the second least preferred of city that I want to do my internship. But then when I hear the reasons Akil has presented to us, I almost influenced by your reasons, but then I still have my belief that I would choose Kuala Lumpur as the place for our internship because for me, in my personal opinion, Kuala Lumpur is a city where you can explore much more experience. You know, the chances of us to gain experience, to gain knowledge. I think it is more broader if we do our internship in KL. And to agree with Hanis Najiha earlier, you said that Kota Kinabalu is full of interesting places like the mountains and the seas, but then it is not our priority. I agree that Kota Kinabalu is an interesting place to do our internship, but then I don't think that should be our priority to choose the cities for our internship. So, and I also agree with one point, and I also agree with Aisha earlier because she said she chose Johor Bahru, right, as the most preferred city to do our internship. I also agree with that, but then because for me, Johor Bahru and Kuala Lumpur doesn't have any big differences, because but then I still choose Kuala Lumpur because I think Kuala Lumpur will give a better chance, a better experience for us to compare with NJB. You can continue, Hanis.
Oh, okay. And if I may add, I never really been to Kota Baru, but actually, frankly speaking, I put Kota Baru as my least favorite place to visit, to do my internship, because somehow for me, just like most of you think of Kota Kinabalu as being far from your hometown, I also think that Kota Baru is somehow too far from me, and I've never really planned or interested to go there. But after hearing Akil's description of Kota Baru, I might change my mind, but not for choosing it as my place for internship, but maybe for vacation, maybe. That's all.
Okay, now that we have talked about Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Kota Baru, Kota Kinabalu, but we haven't heard about Langkawi and Penang. Does anybody here want to add about that? If not, we can put that aside, and maybe it's time for us to choose which one is the most preferred and the last preferred. What about Aisha?
Okay, my most preferred, I think, is Kuala Lumpur, because the big city and you can experience to more knowledge for internship. And my least preferred is Langkawi, because Langkawi I don't like choose because the city is busy, and when I go to school can very late in the morning. Yeah. Next.
Yeah. Point. So what about others? Do you agree if we choose Kuala Lumpur as our most preferred city to do our internship, or is there any objection?
I do agree. I agree with having Kuala Lumpur as our most preferred place for internship. Even though Kuala Lumpur has some of its drawbacks, for example, the heavy traffic congestion and
Yes.
its crowded place, but I am fully convinced by Islin's and Ainin's point on the advantages of doing our internship in Kuala Lumpur in terms of public transportations and all, and for gaining experience purposes.
Okay, what about the least preferred? Do you
In my
think?
opinion, the least preferred would be Kota Kinabalu or maybe Kota Baru. Based on our discussion earlier, I think those two places, maybe in the same place, the least preferred city to do our internship, Kota Kinabalu and Kota Baru. What do you think?
Even though I am the one who chose Kota Kinabalu as my most preferred, but honestly, I also think that my reason was too personal. And after hearing all of your reasons, and most of you placed Kota Kinabalu as your least favorite, and after hearing the reasons, I do think that your reasons is relevant, and yeah, I also agree with choosing Kota Kinabalu as the least favorite for place of internship.
So I guess we can come to a conclusion that our least favorite our least preferred city to do our internship is Kota Kinabalu. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
We agree.
Okay, with that, we can conclude that our most preferred city is Kuala Lumpur, and the least preferred is Kota Kinabalu. With that, we have come to the end of our discussion for today. Thank you for all of your contribution to this meeting, and I hope to see you again in in our internship.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.